I hate the way YouTube's changed everything.
Do you need to change it?
I'll do it in a minute. But normally, if I click on stream settings over there, right, it tells me live view account, total super chats, number of members, and then when you press live, it changes to that, and I don't want that ever.
But you don't have the mouse.
No, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to do it any second. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the show. So there's some confusion, Toby.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to feel fucking wanted. I'll start with that. You know, oh, him again? Where the fuck's Joe? I mean, I can just go if you want. It can be the Liam and No Joe Auto show.
Right, I'm going to be honest with you. People just aren't doing their due diligence, mate. The show is literally called the Liam and No Joe Show. It says it in the title, but I did put him in the thumbnail, and I mean,
it has still got more like gravitas in terms of a title than the Liam and Toby cries because no one wants to see him on stream show again.
Joe is literally on the plane, right? I think he gets back into the UK, into the airport at 7 UK time, I think it is. He's travelling as we speak, coming back to his homeland. So he'll be back on Thursday.
Yeah, don't worry, you won't fucking see me again for a while.
He'll be back on Thursday. At the moment, he's in for the Liam and Joe show on Thursday, but I've given him potentially the night off.
And during the Liam and Joe show on Thursday, I'm going to be stood over there staring at him.
Yeah, with a little voodoo doll and a knife. Yeah. So he'll be back on Thursday for the Liam and Joe show. Now, I've currently booked him to be off on Thursday night stream because I give him time to kind of readapt back to English time. He might want to play 40k, and it might be that you watch him play Races Adam instead of me, and I'll take the fucking night off because I could do some time not in the corner here crying. So
Cry corner's very damp.
It's moist. So you'll definitely see him at lunchtime on Thursday. You may not see him in the evening. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to let that be his choice. Responsible boss. Let him have the choice whether he does or doesn't stream.
Yeah, I mean, where he's not been on airplane or anywhere outside of his car or here for some time, he might get hit with jet lag pretty hard.
Yeah, he might do. Yeah. My lord, Matt's going mad already.
What did I say as we came up the stairs?
Yeah.
I was like, we'll get an easy lunchtime today.
you said Matt didn't show up last night, so he owes you about 200. I'm joking. We've got a topic to talk about for you wonderful people. There's been a lot of stuff I've spoken about recently about narrative being a thing that now has kind of reignited my passion.
Yeah.
Right? I when we go down the route of competitive Warhammer and competitive playing, I get hooked in pretty easily. I do, and I like the idea of being as good as I can or playing as best as I can. But I find that I get burnt out on that really fast. Right?
Okay.
I find that when I'm then inspired to make something narratively, so I've been talking to you a lot recently about a narrative Ultramarines company and all that kind of stuff, and that for me boosts my kind of hobby mojo, my enthusiasm, and that's I mean I think I just have to accept the fact that I'm probably never going to go any better than a 4-on-1 at a tournament. I go there to have fun anyway, and just enjoy myself and actually lean into the stuff that I like, which is the narrative. And if I take a narrative list and lose 3 games, who fucking cares? I took something I thought was fun. But what I also like to try and do on the channel as best as we can is I like to try and offer a balanced viewpoint, and there is definitely a flip side, right? So we spun a narrative on the channel for a while that some tournament players are the worst, and I've tried to always be clear that I don't think all tournament players are the worst, chat, but some are, and some are people that just ruin your time when you're playing at them on a tournament. They're not that common. They're a select few, but because people have such bad experiences with those people, they typically be the ones you hear more about. And obviously, the world is such that bad news travels faster, it spreads wider. It's just the case, right? So there are some competitive players that do make it shit, but for the most point, I want to make this very, very clear. I haven't got a problem with competitive players. I haven't got a problem with tournaments. I haven't got a problem with competitive Warhammer on the whole.
No, there's a problem with everybody on the whole.
Yeah, I do. I just want more narrative focus on some of the rules and ways to play, which I think Games Workshop have kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Neglected is what I'm looking for. Neglected for a while. Having said that, I've also come up against narrative players that have made my experience as awful as the worst competitive players.
Oh yeah, and you know why that? I guarantee, we haven't had a pre-discussion about that, is that 99% of the time, if you've had a bad experience with a narrative player, it's because they've made their narrative your problem.
Right.
Because they've been like, that's not very narrative of you to take that. And you're like, well, okay, but these are my toys. I have my narrative. It's not lore accurate. There's a very, very, very definitive difference between something that is a home narrative that you created about your army and your toys, which you are allowed to do, and then going and looking at someone else's army and going, I've brought a narrative list that's either narrative to the actual lore of the game or the universe or to their own homebrew, and looking at that and going, 3 crisis commanders. Just an idiot. You don't need that.
No, and that's the thing, isn't it? I think, narrative is an interesting one because I think narrative is kind of multifaceted. And what I mean by that is there is definitely the kind of lore accurate. Games Workshop has released some lore and there's lore accurate narrative. But we live in Warhammer 40k, we live in a giant fucking sandbox.
Yeah.
Where you can do what you
play
want.
With your toys. 10th edition is the edition of play with your toys.
And when I was writing my Ultramarines company list, I don't want any more than 1 single captain.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with 2 lieutenants.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where that stops. That's my narrative, right? And I don't like the concept of there being 10 captains on the field.
No, I mean, I'm the same.
But if someone came to me with some narrative behind it, and 10 captains isn't also the most competitive choice, right? You can look at it and you can go, you're not just trying to break. Well, you're not just trying to break. You're not just trying to take the most broken thing and justify it. You've actually got some narrative in here as to why you may have 10 Space Marine captains.
And the thing is, you can spin a narrative. Like off the top of my head, if someone's running 10 captains, I'm thinking, well, have we had an incursion within like the inner workings of a fortress or something, and there's been like a meeting of the High Council of Space Marine characters within a certain chapter, and all of a sudden there's been an incursion of Tyranids, or like the Orcs have broken through unexpectedly and they had to all assemble and they were what was available for the. Again, what you have to think about in narrative speak really is that like normally you're playing like a centimetre out of a metre battle that's likely happening.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of narratively would spin it. Well, and again,
So I was looking at the new Ultramarine stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because I've built 3 of the Victrix guards. I've now got the blue on them. I'm getting ready to start painting them. Hopefully put some paint on them this weekend. Well, actually, no, I'll probably be painting Calgar this weekend. But I was like, for me personally, I don't think that there's any reason to ever own more than 6 Victrix guard.
Yeah, okay.
1 champion, 1 banner, and then 4 regular dudes, right? For me personally. And then you said, or unless because Cato Sicarius has been made champion of the Victrix Guard or whatever it is, or custodian of the Victrix Guard, there is a world where, especially in the 500 worlds, he could deploy them en masse.
Yeah, and again, there's a world where if you're taking Calgar, Sicarius, and a load of Victrix Guard, realistically, there is going to be a number of Victrix Guard. There's not only 6 within the Ultramarines chapter, not in one company. And given if you are going to deploy characters of those natures, so we are talking the chapter master of the Ultramarines, right? So second to Gilliman, he is the big. Where are they going to be? They're likely going to be with him. And especially if the champion or the leader of the Victrix Guard is also present on the field. The game is written and the rules are written so that Cato can go with Calgar. So in the narrative sandbox the Games Workshop give us, they're allowing you to play with your toys that way. The problem is what they have done is by going, here's the big toy box, they've removed certain narrative limitations which help the narrative game balance, which is back in 9th, whereas per detachment, you have 1 captain, 2 lieutenants.
Right, so, and this is something that I've always championed. I always thought it was really, really good, and I prefer that. I like it, and it's my preference. And this is what I'm getting at, because when I thought about, I don't see why on a 2,000 point game I'd ever have more than 6 Victrix, and we had that conversation, that's when I was like, yeah, but just because that's not my narrative doesn't mean it can't be a person's narrative.
100%.
And I would argue that because we were talking about this last night a little bit, and a lot of people suggested that some level of list building restriction under things like force organization charts, for example, or the old formations and detachments, is probably better overall for the state of the game, and it calms it down a little bit. And again, I agree with all those things. And for me personally, I think that's right. I like that. However, there is definitely but this isn't my narrative. My narrative isn't 1 HQ, 2 troop choices. My narrative is something completely different. My narrative is nothing but jump pack Marines.
Yeah, and also you have to now play into account where you're not necessarily locked behind a force organization, but you are playing into a detachment that plays a certain way, which is for example, when we played last week, I ran the new Iron Hands detachment. It is structured to support Terminators and First Company units. So I'm going to take the units that the detachment rule works for because it builds the narrative around it. There's no point in me taking a load of assault intercessors or, vindicators in that detachment really because it doesn't benefit.
Do you think one way we could do it is by kind of ensuring that every detachment has positives and negatives? So I do look at some of it now, right? So the first company detachments are one of them. There is also the one that a lot of Space Force players are using for their Thunderwolf cavalry. I forget what it's called.
Stormlance?
It might be Stormlance, yeah.
Advance and charge.
Yeah, and all the stratagems affect mounted units, right? And there is a downside to that detachment because if you take nothing but Blade Guard, well, you can advance and charge everything, but none of your stratagems work.
Yes, exactly.
So there's a negative. But then I look at things like Gladius. It's just not really a negative. Liberator Assault Group for Blood Angels, not really a negative. Beast Slayer for Space Wolves, not really. There's just not really any negatives to these attachments.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and typically those ones are the ones that float to the surface as just being the best. And that's the ones that everyone takes those, right? And I think they do it. They do it because there is no negative to them. So I wonder if we're going to go, you know what, we're not going to have force organisation charts. We're not going to have formations because we want to give you a bit more narrative freedom as the player base. Which there is a part of me that thinks that's the right move. Because if we're going to say to you, this is a giant sandbox and you can create your own stories and forge your own narrative, then they do kind of need to give you the tools to do that. But I then think maybe in detachment design, you kind of need to go, there needs to be some negative, right?
So I think like a lot of this goes back to...
Paul says the negative to Gladius is you have to accept you're a coward.
I mean, Gladius is great, but then Gladius is themed around Ultramarines who, would be good at taking a bit of everything. That's fine. But then... what's interesting with some of the new detachments is that you have to take like Lysander or whatever to run that new Imperial Fist detachment.
Yeah.
Which means you're not running Gilliman or the Line in that detachment and being like, haha, look at this broken combination I've built. But this goes back to, we used to have, was it like narrative, open and match play? Was that what it was back in one of the previous editions, right?
Yeah.
So for me, match play, they've nailed that because if it's competitive Warhammer with L-shaped terrain, if that's your bag, I'm wholly 100% behind you and here for it because I want, funnily enough, as the narrative captain over here, I want everybody to have their game their way. The problem is that open and narrative play are kind of gone because to me, what we have now as the core demographic of 10th edition is open. Because if I want to take 9 Dreadnoughts and a Tech Marine, I can. If I want to take 18 Blade Guard, I can. Because there's the rule of 3. If I want to take three captains on jump packs, 3 Terminator captains, I can. That's open play. That's not narrative play. Narrative play currently isn't a system that is supported in 10th edition.
No, I agree.
And it's because there is, not because you can't do it, but there is no blueprint to aid you to do it without sort of like having to go and do the legwork yourself.
Yeah. Never says restrictions are the narrative. But this is the thing, right? That yes and no. I agree and I disagree. And I agree because restrictions are the things that force you towards Games Workshop's narrative, which I'm for because I'm here because I love Games Workshop's narrative. But restrictions don't help your own necessary narrative. Now you can build your own narrative around those restrictions, but that's because you're accepting the restrictions. Currently, they've gone. You can do what you want. Right? Are you ready for something very exciting?
Yeah.
You get to fly solo for like 10 minutes.
Oh my god!
Because the electricians just turned up.
It's the Tobe show. Right. Strap in, gang.
You can have the iPad of comments.
Okay.
Don't read anything paid yet, but this is the beauty of running and building Hobby House Monday to Friday whilst also trying to do live streams is that tradesmen turn up.
I mean, he could have sent me to get the tradesman.
Would you like to go let the tradesman in?
Oh no, you've given me the iPad now.
Or do you want to stay here and run solo? What would you like to do?
I can run solo. I've done streamies before.
We're on 45 members, chat. I'll see if Toby can get to 100 by the time I get back.
Please help me. Literally, my livelihood may depend on this next 5 minutes. So
it's possible.
Who knows? Well, let's have a look. So I saw who said this. Let's have a look. Someone. Where are we looking? Awakened Dynasty. Right. So Keith, you play Awakened Dynasty. I guess the negatives you have to pay the points on all those characters. See, here's an interesting one. Right. So I'm quite a big Necron fan. I've got a Necron army to build. Haven't done it yet because who doesn't have 4,000 projects on the go that they haven't started? Awakened Dynasty is great because it encourages you to kind of think, okay, well, the dynasty is awakening, which means we should see lots and lots and lots of warriors and things like that. But there wouldn't be overlords all the time or lords all the time. You'd have a support host of characters, so you'd have like your cryptex and things like that, but I don't think you'd see lots and lots of like overlords. So I don't think that detachment is, I think it's penalising you in a way that maybe it shouldn't. But I think that's all down to the way that 10th's written. Oh, someone, Cornet Ed sending 5 gifted memberships. Thank you very much. He said I'm not allowed to read anything like that yet because I'll get told off, and I will. He's got a really big stick, and he's beating me with it daily. So send help. But yeah, if anyone wants to gift, then I look great, and maybe my job is secure. That would be great. No Liam and no Joe. Some toe. That's it. There's some toe. There's some there. There's some there. We've not reached enough memberships for me to get my feet out. Not that I'm sure anyone wants that, but we'll have to see. See you at Beachhead? Yeah, I'll be at Beachhead. I'm not playing at Beachhead, but I would like to walk around and just say hello to everybody. Again, because I'm more of a narrative guy than a competitive guy, I'm not very good at the game. Although I did give Liam a bit of a pasting the other day. But he did basically use all my toys, right? So maybe he beat himself. Liam beat himself. Someone's going to clip that. You know. Let's have a look. What else have we got going on here? Who doesn't have 4,000 projects? I feel fucking called out. Dude, I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't know. I've got a shed that currently I've offered to loan the stock of my shed to Hobby House so we can open because I have so many projects in there that I haven't even looked at. And over there, I can see more boxes of stuff that I've got to take home and build. Insane. How much would you have to be paid to do an impression you did earlier all the time? Well, this one. Well, Liam's back now. God, I did get some memberships, Liam. Not 100. I guess I've lost my job.
Those stairs are hard work when you're in a rush.
You literally ran that, didn't you?
Yeah.
My stream! I can't leave him in charge of the stream.
Can you tell?
We're in the gym. We need to get you back in there, mate. Pumping.
I've been doing my rehab for the last 2 weeks on my arm. So,
your wank twist.
Yeah, my wank twist. Left hand, though, it's harder.
Is it?
Less control.
I haven't witnessed that, by the way. Just
fucking hell, right? Most of you might not know. Some of you, if you've been watching the behind the scenes stuff, you will know, but most of you won't know. The studio is on the top floor of a 3-story building. Actually, it's not strictly 3 stories; it's 4 stories, strictly speaking.
Well, I mean, if we include Magic Car Park.
Yeah, so where the car park is at the back, there's some stairs up to the main foyer area, which is where I start most of the behind the scenes videos.
Yeah.
And then there's some stairs up to a landing, then some stairs up to the middle floor, and then some stairs up to the studio.
He's not lying.
There's a lot of steps, and the Thanes will tell you how much they enjoy the steps at the studio. And the electrician's gone to the back door, obviously, of course he would.
Of course he has, the furthest amount of steps.
So I've gone and got him a key so he can let himself in and out.
Yeah.
And then I've gone down and I've let him in and then ran up the stairs.
Did you get all the way down there and then have to go back to my desk to get the key and then go back down again, or did you get my key on the way?
The sensible thing would have been to get the key on the way, wouldn't it?
So you had to leg it back up the stairs, back down the stairs, and then back up again.
I've done many stairs.
Many stairs. Many stairs. We should count the stairs and go, that's our member goal for the day. That's how many members. One stair equals one prayer for Liam.
Jesus Christ. But he's in now. So there's a quick slight warning. This is the electrics being fitted for the new air conditioning units on the ground floor, of which there's 2 10-kilowatt units on the ground floor. And then you have the condenser unit sit on the outside wall. He's got to drill through the ceiling to run power and then out through the wall.
So not only could there be drilling noise, but there could be a no Liam, no Joe, no Toe show if the power goes off.
Two risks. First risk is super loud drilling noise. Second risk is everything goes boom and we're fucked. But he said that shouldn't be a problem, and
Get those members and super chats in early.
Seems like a pretty competent Sparky, right? So we should be fine. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know what you were talking about.
So Keith had said that his sort of like negative to playing Awakened Dynasty, which is obviously the Necron detachment that benefits from having the characters lead the units, is that he has to then take all the characters. And I countered that. I Tin Henmond and return serve.
Tim Henman, fucking hell.
And I'm fucking old, chat. Let's be real. Although he is older than me, so not that old.
By a year?
Well, yeah, my surname is Young, so I can never be old.
You're the same age as Joe.
Am I?
Yeah.
One of us aged better than the other one.
Are you 37?
Yes.
Same age as Joe?
Oh, actually, I'm 38 now. I was 30 in October. So I am older than Joe.
Oh, no. How old am I? 38. I'm 30. So we're the same age now.
Yeah, but your birthday's in like 2 months.
December.
Yeah, so a month.
Yeah. Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Practically Jesus.
Wank birthday.
I've had 38 of them, I know.
So as I return serve, what should we say? Andy Murray? Is that a slightly more relevant fucking tennis player?
Okay.
I don't even like tennis. Is that...
Yeah.
Is that... For me, the Awakened Dynasty goes, okay, so the dynasty is awakening, so all the warriors and all the immortals are coming up out of the tombs, out of the ground, and marching forward like a relentless, zombie robot onslaught. Why then is there fucking 6 overlords, an overlord in every single unit? Because there's not, there shouldn't be. Narratively speaking, there is an overlord probably running that.
Right.
I can understand the support of the cryptex, potentially leading a few units, but you shouldn't see loads of lords, for example.
But this is a detachment problem, though.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, that the detachment, whilst putting a restriction in place, that restriction, in my opinion, is only an opinion, don't shoot the opinion, doesn't support the narrative.
Right, exactly. So it's similar for Blood Angels. It's not Liberated Assault Group, it's the other one, which I can't remember what it's called, Angelic Inheritors, right, where units get better with characters in them.
Yeah.
So that's where you see many captains, Big Wow, as well as Dante, as well as Lamates, as well as Astra, blah, blah, blah. It's because...
Avengers Assemble, Blood Angels.
Because the units get better with characters in them. And I'm like, although I kind of like the concept of what the detachment is trying to do, it's done in such a way that you could run 6-7 captains in 6-7 units, and it's the best way to run that army.
Yeah, and the army becomes the most efficient, but then it's the efficiency race, isn't it?
Do you know what? Do you know what I'd like to see? Something I'd quite like to see. This often, if you're new here, we often go wildly off topic, right? We fuck off in different directions. Something I'd love to see, actually. You know what happens if a unit's particularly efficient?
Yeah.
You pay 150 points for 5.
Yeah.
And then you might pay 320 points for 10.
Yeah.
You kind of pay the extra 10 points for going up to double size unit because they're super extra efficient with certain strategies,
so you're saying more points for the character if the character's going in the unit as well.
Captain 1's 100 points.
Yeah.
But if you take a second captain, it's 120
What about
points.
second captain?
What about second captain? It's 120 points.
Okay.
If you take third captain, it's 140 points, and so on and so forth. That could be something that I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out here now. I have no idea, but
I mean, I think the big thing is like to go on to the topic of the stream, because I'm well aware that we will drift off into the abyss and probably never return. Is that there are narrative people who can ruin the game equally as much as a really like try.
Have you ever come up against someone like that?
Have I come up against this guy?
Yeah.
I can't believe you. Yes, unfortunately.
Have you? So you've got. This is what I've played a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
I've played tournaments all over the country actually. I don't think I'm yet to come up against an opponent who has made my life shitter because of their narrative.
And you know what? If as a narrative player, someone who, when going into like a gaming group or whatever, was like, you know, I'm not great at the game. I'm okay, as we saw the other day. You don't play enough to know all the rules all the time. So you got to play with my toys and beat yourself off, as we talked about when you weren't here. But I would say, look, I'm narrative, so I'm not going to bring the most competitive thing. So your opponent would know. I've had more bad interactions with narrative players being a narrative player than I think I would have done as a competitive player with a narrative player. Because when you tell people you're a narrative player, and you can go to them, they might be like, 9 times out of 10, someone will be like, oh, what's your narrative for your army? And you'll explain it. One other time, you're not codex compliant. Sorry?
I've never had this.
Yeah, but that's because you're not necessarily going, I'm looking for a really narrative game. The narrative Nazis are fighting the other narrative players more than because they're going to come up and go, you running 3 company heroes, 3 captains, I see. Yeah, I am, because it's efficient. I'm here to win the game. That's how I like to play the game. Okay, fine, that shuts them down. But if you're like, I'm bringing my narrative, what's your narrative? Okay, so I'm running first company task force, so I've got a load of Terminators. I'm not even sure there's that many suits of Terminator armor within the 3rd company of the Raven Guard. And you're like, oh my God. Like, you've clearly never seen a woman. Ever.
I've never come up against these people. Like I've had.
That's probably they wouldn't get up the stairs, Liam.
I've had shitty experiences with competitive people, and typically there's a point where I've gone, you care about winning this far much more than I do.
Yeah.
And it's where they're like super fast and loose with their movement, but they're kind of really like eagle-eyed about your movement, and you just get this vibe and you get this kind of feeling. You're like, I'm not. Paddy will talk about it where he's like, it's the oops, I'm in the middle list. So you figure it out and you go, everything in the middle, just fight that, off you go, right?
Do you know the worst narrative players, right, are the ones who go, your squad markings are incorrect.
But this is my point, right? I've heard about this all the time. I've heard about this loads. And normally there's no smoke without fire. Normally if there's a stigma that exists, it's because people have had this experience. I've just never had this experience.
So from my time...
Maybe it's because I'm big and ugly and no one wants to upset me.
I mean, if like, you know, fucking the troll from under the 3 Billy Goats Gruff Bridge comes up to you, Liam, and goes, I see your space walls don't match the correct colour scheme. You're going to be like, fuck off, you tramp.
No,
and he's going to walk away.
I won't, though.
No?
We have a brand and a reputation to represent. I'll be like, oh, okay.
Okay, but in your head, you're thinking...
Oh, in my head, I'm thinking... Absolutely, I'm thinking that, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and they just like the the tournament players who are out to win, out for guts, not, they're competitive, but they're not what I would call friendly competitive, where they allow you to make a mistake once and then they,
Is there
those sort of things.
Do you think there's a limit to where a person can justify a list selection on the narrative? Do you think there's a line? So what I mean by that is, right, there's clearly lists that exist that are copy and pastes of big tournament winning and stuff like that. And I have come up against those sorts of lists, not quite exactly copy and paste, but very close. And they've justified it with a narrative. And actually, on occasion where I've come up against that person, I've listened to the narrative. I'm like, hey, it makes sense, it fits, it makes sense. So, but do you think there's a line where you look at that and go, bullshit, mate, you've made the narrative fit the list?
See, I've never encountered a super narrative competitive player. I've not met I'm doing 4-1, 5-0 with my narrative list, because that narrative list, to answer your question, the narrative is like, my 3 units of company heroes are here because they were all having staff meeting and then the battle kicked off. So we're going to fucking roll it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and the thing is the problem is that like, the more you go back down the 40k history rabbit hole, the more problems you draw with the current state of things. Because like, as I say, when I made my Iron Hands in 8th, and you started to get like a Gravis armor and stuff like that. Now, I primarily run Gravis units because for me, that's the most lore accurate way to play a Space Marine, because they are toughness 6. They've got 3 wounds. Space Marines in the lore are hard to kill. An Intercessor is not hard to kill because everything's AP 2, damage 2. So a Space Marine becomes irrelevant. So I like to play with Gravis. I think it looks cool, big and chunky, love it. When I started my army, I was going, right, I'm going to have 5 aggressors. I'm going to have 5 eradicators, etc. Because that was Codex compliant. You had 100 Marines in a unit, in a company. Cool, it's all in 5s and 10s, because that's how Space Marines has always been. Then, now, in 10th edition, it's like, well, it's 6. You can take 5, but you're now literally being penalised for following the narrative we laid out for you for 9 editions, because you're not paying points per model. So that's why I say the open play for me is essentially what the core rule set is of the rule of 3 for me is open play. Narrative play is missing. Competitive play is taking the open play rule set and being as aggressive as you can with it.
Paul says, I absolutely justify bringing 18 Centurions as fluffy for my homebrew, even though I'm also trying to win competitively with it. So I still have Shan and Caven, which clearly isn't very narrative.
Okay. I mean, that's a choice. 18 Centurions, so...
I think he does quite well with them as well, to be fair.
I mean, 8 Centurions are fucking batshit good at the moment.
I'm playing both and absolutely not coming out on top.
I mean, again, and I think, one thing I will say as a narrative player is you have the best experience when you've had the conversation beforehand.
Who do you think ruins it more? The hyper narrative who will tell you that your squad markings are wrong and you shouldn't have any Terminator armor in the 3rd company, actually, because they're 1st company.
Yeah.
Or the player masquerading as narrative whilst running the latest broken list. Who I
mean, that guy's a chump.
Who gives you the worst experience?
I mean, they both give me the ick.
Yeah, but who gives you the worst experience in that scenario? Who do you think you're going to have a worse time against?
How far do I want to push this? Okay.
Don't get me cancelled.
Probably the first one. Probably.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because there is a certain stigma that comes with a player like that. And like, that is the sort of person that, again, personally, is going to grind my gears, because they're, squad markings. I don't like transfers, so I don't really use transfers very often. And I've done a couple on my knights, but not on my Marines. So then when you're going, like, I had one player once who was like, that's not Iron Hands. And I was like, I've got Iron Hand shoulder pads on them. I'm playing the Iron Hands, rules. This is back in 8th or whatever. It's not Iron Hands. Well, why isn't it? They're not black. Okay, I'm not, to quote, I'm not happy with you saying they're Iron Hands for this game. We didn't have the game because I walked away. That was the players. And that's going to be a sticker. That's probably already a sticker in the things. But the other person, so I've got my really cool narrative 18 Centurions list. It's like, okay, cool. If that's your narrative, that's fine. And then when they go, that player tends to be the same person who wins and goes, this is not very good at the moment. They need to be balanced. Like we could do with a little bit of a buff. And you're like, hang on a minute. No. There's nothing wrong with having your own narrative, but I think having your own narrative and playing a narrative game are 2 very different things. Because a narrative game is storytelling. For someone to tell a story in a 2-person or 4-person game, you need to all be involved in that. And that normally comes down to, so for example, I know what armies Tom and Paddy are playing tonight. They've both told me what they're kind of doing. I will build the table because Joe's not here. I'm building a narrative table for them to play on because Paddy has tried to take a narrative list and Tom has tried to take a list that won't get bumped by Paddy.
Yeah. That's how it happens here with Paddy, to be fair.
And I will make sure that there is a thematic table for them. Now that in its sense has been a conversation that has led to the narrative game. Now, regardless of like, we might be doing, it'll be like your secondaries and your primaries will all be from the latest mission deck as per, but the table and the 2 armies taking place, because we are aware of all that information, we are able to make a narrative. I already have a scope for what I can tell them, why they're playing on this board, etc., etc. And that in turn gives you the story and you play out the narrative, how it ends.
I think it gives you the starting point of the story.
Yeah.
The table gives you the starting point of the story. The thing that I've always believed in firmly is that the dice are the things that then tell you the story.
Which is why I never use a command point reroll.
And my old business partner used to say categorically, and it's a phrase it's never left me, you let the dice tell the story. You don't need to come up with a narrative.
No.
Because the dice will do it for you.
You can be like, this is where we are. This is why we're here. We don't know what's going to happen.
It's one of the reasons why, I've said it a million times before, it's one of the reasons why I hate command point rerolls so much, because what they do is they rob you of that narrative moment.
Yes, 100%.
So, it could be something simple like a custodian terminator charging down I don't know.
A commissar.
Normally not Imperium, but, an orc, right? And that orc can level his shooter and just pull the trigger in hope, because let's face it, and that one time where you hit and then you wound and he's got one wound left and he fails it and he dies is, for me, the things that make Warhammer.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Retweet.
But they've gone.
Yeah, because you're like, re-roll my 2-up save.
Yeah, I'm fine.
It's like, shock horror, as a D6 dice game, I've got, quite a good chance of not rolling on 1 again. It does happen, but it takes the feeling out of the game. And you only need 1 or 2 moments like that within a game where the narrative is drawn out of
there's old moment. I don't know if it's the current rule set is true of this, because I haven't played the current rule set, but the last rule set of bolt action, there is, for reference, those of you who don't know, the rule set's quite simplistic, right? And predominantly it's a roll to hit and then someone takes a wound and goes down. You don't have this roll to hit, roll to wound, roll a saving throw type stuff. But what's interesting is you have a base hit of like a 4+, and then if you're moving, it goes to a 5+, and if your opponent's moving, it goes to a 6+, and if you're firing over some terrain, it can go to a 6 followed by a 6, right? So you get these shots, which are, you have to roll a 6, and if you successfully roll a dice, you have to pick it up and roll a 6 again, and that's the only way you get the hit. Right, which most 40k players are going to go because we're so used to 2s reroll everything, wound on 2s reroll everything, AP -4, ignoring vuns, devastating wounds. We're so used to that that when you hear about something that's a 6 followed by a 6, you go, oh, that's disgusting. But when those moments happen on the tabletop,
magic, isn't it?
They're magic moments, right? 100%. And I've played the older version of the game. I played a number of bolt action games where, you'll roll your tank out and you'll get hit by something like a tiger in the first turn, and it'll actually blow your tank up.
Yeah.
And you both celebrate the moment, and the reason why you both celebrate the moment is because it's so fucking rare that happens that you go, fuck, that's cool as shit. And I want that back in Warhammer. When John came down for the Heresy launch, and we played Heresy on stream. And I actually really like the new version of Heresy. I don't like...
I'm retweeting again, Liam.
I don't like Marines on Marines personally, but I have a real desire to start building a Heresy armor in the near future. Because I'm obviously, my favourite thing in the world is Eldar, so I can't play Eldar in Heresy. But the thing that I liked about it is we finished like the first 2 battle rounds, and I'm like, we've got most of our stuff left.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Because it's rarer for shit to just die. And then you get to spend more time using your units and using your toys, and we had this epic duel between whoever the 2
Magnus
Primarchs
and
were.
Russ.
Yeah, Magnus and Russ, exactly. And I'm like, that's what it's about.
The going off topic, but the challenges in Heresy is chef's kiss for like epic narrative moments. But you notice how many rerolls are there in Heresy?
Fuck all, none. But I also think, and I said this last night, right? Quickly, Paul says, it's difficult to really define competitive versus narrative because it's such a spectrum. I 100% agree with that. On every level, I agree with that. And I think often society does it for everything in the world, but in the Warhammer world specifically, often we assign this tag of competitive and this tag of narrative, and we kind of treat this spectrum of people as the descriptor when the spectrum's actually that wide. And I think we do have to be careful, but the words are relevant so people have an idea of which sort of side of the coin we're talking about. What was I going to say before that? Heresy. So the rerolls, right? So Heresy is beautiful because of the lack of rerolls, or one of the reasons why. Actually, Age of Sigmar is the same. Yeah, I think. What's interesting is I wonder if rerolls exist in 40k as a way to maintain a D6 system but have a multiple sets of results more than 6, right? So at the moment, if you roll a D6, you have 6 results. Okay. So your spectrum is 1 of 6.
So this can easily be rectified by returning to the old AP system.
And the old weapon skill system.
And bring initiative back. Because the fight first, fight last, and then just fight in between stuff is not representative of certain characters' abilities to fight.
So to some extent, right, the AP system and the weapon skill system, to some extent, I understand them simplifying that because it has been simplified. I think it's made it worse, but it has been simplified because you don't have to look up a table to see who's hitting who on what, and nor do you have to go, I'm AP4 and you're 3-up save, so do you get a save or don't you get a save? It's just, it's -1, right? So I get the simplification and I think that makes sense. Initiative is one that's always irked me, and obviously it's going to irk me more because I'm an Eldar player, right? We always used to be initiative yes.
Fast, spindly little Eldar.
Yeah, we used to be initiative yes all the time, right? However, how complicated is it that the highest number comes first? That's not a thing that I think needed simplifying.
No.
And actually, I think that the various iterations we've gone through of fights first, fights last, fights normal, and if you've got fights first but you're also affected by fights last, you go to fights normal. I'm like, how is that more simple than initiative?
So
initiative 10 goes first, initiative 9 goes next. That's easy.
So the problem I have with the AP system as it currently is you get AP creep as this is a problem with all editions, is that everything becomes AP2 as standard because AP1 no longer has punch. And then everything gets to AP3 because AP2 no longer has punch.
This is the same thing with damage profiles, right? So Space Marines, when they went from 1 wound to 2 wounds, felt really tough.
Great,
because the army was full of 1 damage.
And then they're like, oh, but nothing's dying.
Now 40k is full of 2 damage.
Space Marines are rubbish again.
Space Marines are shit again.
Yeah.
And it's that arms race that just keeps going.
But everything being AP2 basically makes invuns redundant.
Well, no, it makes invuns the only save.
Well, yeah, but if it's, so I mean, they're redundant because it's just like, well, I need to take things with an invun. Because everything's AP2.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take anything which doesn't, or it's just going to get flat damage.
Because Terminator armor, we went from editions and editions and editions ago, where you failed on a 3+ on 2d6.
Yeah.
So you had to roll Snake Eyes to fail a Terminator armor save. And now we're basically going, it doesn't matter, because we're on invuns all the time.
I forget, was it in 9th or something like that, where you, one particular unit of Marines had a rule where it was like, it was 1,000 Suns, all is dust. You ignored AP1. That's a nice, easy way to do it. If you've not got everything's AP2, ignoring AP1 on Marines removes part of the problem.
But my point is, like, when you had, I know we're talking about rules from ages and ages ago, when you had rules which were trying to demonstrate how tough Terminators were, where the old AP system existed, and you had a 2d6 armor save, and you roll, and I wouldn't want it to come back because you have to roll each individual save on 2 dice separately, and I don't like slow rolling.
It's a long roll, isn't it?
But you'd roll 2 dice, and if you rolled Snake Eyes, you failed. And if you rolled anything else, you passed. That's how tough Terminator armor used to be.
Yeah.
And now it's mostly 50-50 because you're on your 4-up invuln.
Yeah.
50-50 save for Terminators, mostly, because you're on your 4-up invuln. That's bollocks.
Yeah. And it just that isn't narrative, but it's also, it gives you no want to take anything like that. Like, this is what I was saying the other day on the other stream. I was like, I take the toys that I want to play with. Normally, the toys I want to play with are crap.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But Marines are hard to balance. It's hard to balance on the current rule system. They do as best they can because if they'd gone the complete other way, we'd still find something that we thought was wrong with it. But
yeah,
it is a hard push.
I do certainly think, though, that the rule set that's put in front of people can, for the majority, I feel like it directly influences the way in which people play the game.
Yeah.
And I think that my personal opinion is always going to be don't get angry. But my personal opinion is always going to be that people, no matter how narrative they claim to be, are always looking for ways to win games of Warhammer.
I mean, do you think there's any footballer out there who goes, I don't mind if we win, just here to have a good time?
I watch Saints, so
okay, redact that statement. No, but like, you'd like to think that they're not going out there going, draw would be all right. Don't mind if we lose either. Well, just here a good time.
I don't know, it's hard to answer that one, mate, because those fuckers get paid stupid money whether they win, lose, or draw. They don't care.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
reason why half of them are on the golf course on a Saturday when they haven't even picked, like, oh no, I'm going to pay 50 grand this week.
Terrible life.
Yeah.
But like, I think like in any aspect, any sport, any video games, whatever, there is a certain like positive connotation with winning something. But it's an endless scale of how much that matters to each person. Because like, I like to win, I enjoy winning, but I'm there for the experience. I'm there for the story. I'm there to play games with my friends.
If losing a game, so for me, losing a game of Warhammer has no impact on how I feel after.
You're not going home and being like, watch out, lose.
The only thing that has an get rid of that Stella. The only thing that has an impact at the end of the game for me is how my opponent was.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm personally an individual who doesn't care if I win or lose. Yeah, I'm going to go to Beachhead in January, February time with the team. And if I go there, play 4, 5 and lose all of them, but all 5 of my opponents were great and I had a few beers and shared some laughs and had some epic moments, I don't fucking care.
No, because you had a good time.
Fun. Yeah, I've enjoyed myself.
That's why I play the game. I think that's the majority of people probably play the game for that. If you're playing because you have to win, they're normally the players that go the other way when they're not winning. They start crying, they start getting unpleasant to people, they start dropping out of tournaments, and and then they're not like, I'd like to think they're not representable of everybody in the hobby.
I think they're the minority, and this is the problem with. I think sometimes the problem with social media and the world we live in general. Right, we hear about these narrative players that you talk about. Yeah, we hear about I've built the most competitive list in the world. I'm going to claim it's narrative. We hear about the people who care about nothing but competitive, and then they lose a game and leave. We hear about these people, and because of the way social media is, I think that's the bit that spreads really fast.
Yes.
However, I don't think that's the majority. I think that's like in the singular percentile, if not like even smaller. I don't think it's common. No, we hear about 100%. It because when the second there's that kind of drama, especially when people preach a certain type of behaviour and behave differently, that shit's going to spread like wildfire on social media.
Well, yeah, it's also...
And it does. And you look at those types of players and you go, I don't want to come up against that kind of narrative player. Guess what, chat? Most of the time, you're just never going to meet them. You're never going to meet them. And those kinds of competitive players, most of the time you're never going to meet them. You just won't. And ultimately, one of my favourite things with the people that have the fucking vein that grows here and they start sweating if they're not winning is I just dick about. That really upsets them. But I'm having a great time.
Well, it's important to enjoy your hobby as well, right? But I was going to say, like, it's like we say with the social media thing. It's very much like when you go to a restaurant. If you have a nice time, you might tell a mate, I went to a good restaurant the other day. It's great. You're not really going to go on TripAdvisor and be like, this place was fucking banging. However, if you go there and someone has shat on your steak, the first place you're going is the internet to be like, outrage.
But isn't that a weird part of the world?
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to Luce about this the other day, right? Because she went to, I can't remember what shop she went into, but she went into a shop and they printed a receipt and he fucking, we were at Legoland. I think we were at Legoland a couple of weeks ago, and he fucking circled the QR code, and he drew an arrow to it, and he wrote his name, and he handed her the receipt. Luce hates this, by the way. The second someone does this, I'm like, oh, fucking here we go. Because she hates this, and she'll go, what's that? Well, if you'd like to review me, and she's like, why am I reviewing you? And he's like, what? She's like, why am I reviewing you? He's like, well, if you can, if you say that I've done a good job, it can affect my bonus. And she's like, why is that up to me? Like, don't you have people in charge who know if you're doing a good or a bad job?
And you're just there like,
and I'm going, and she gets a real fucking cob on about it, and I get it. And she's like, I hate the fact that everyone's being reviewed all the time. Like, that it ruins the experience for me. She's like, he smiles, I smile, everyone's happy. I've got the information I need. Go away. Then he goes, review me, and I'm like, that's ruined it. I don't want to be fucking review. It's not my job to do your fucking annual review for you. And I get it. I understand it. But I said to Luce, I was like, the thing is, we live in a world where ultimately businesses want to know if their staff are doing a good job. Yeah. And I said the thing is, for the most part, the only way you're ever going to know if staff are doing a good job who are customer facing is by asking those customers.
Yeah.
unfortunately, we also live in a world where, like you've just said, if you go and have a good experience, how many people go home and write a positive review? Almost no one. People do it, but almost no one will go and write a positive review.
And the problem is
and companies have to ask for a positive review.
Yes.
They won't just get one. And then if you have a bad experience, people want to go home and go online and tell everyone they had a bad experience. They want to punish that business that gave them that bad experience. And there's a real imbalance between how willing people are to put something negative on versus how willing people are to put something positive on.
Back in my days in restaurants, we had like someone from TripAdvisor who actually came around and just did a chat, because I was part of the Fuller's group, which is quite large. And they were like, do you know that the percentage of customers that leave negative reviews to those that actually visit is something like 3% of like your annual. So like for that one person who went, you fucking dropped a cup of coffee on Granny on Christmas Day, and she's now got 3rd-degree fucking burns all over her. I'm coming to your pub every day with some paint to spray horrible things on your car park. That's like one instance of the other 99 people that came to there that day, Christmas Day, and had a lovely lunch. But then those other 99 people might not say they had it. Same with Warhammer. You know, like that one, I can't believe you've not got the right doors on that Land Raider for the 3rd company. He's the one person in the world that you're probably going to run into like that.
Yeah.
And you're not, hopefully you won't run into it again.
The thing is, it's what the other, on the flip side of the coin, I'm also a person who is very bad for going, I want to go to this place, I want to do this thing, I want to visit this business. And what do we all do nowadays? Google it.
Yeah.
And have a look at its ratings.
So make sure you go on Google and leave Hobby House a really positive review.
Not yet, because that will look fake.
Yeah, wait till we're open.
So I go and Google things, and I go, what's the reviews like? Amazon. If I'm looking for something on Amazon, I'll scroll down, look at the reviews, and if there's a huge number of people that say the second I tried to build this thing it broke, I'm like, I'm probably not buying that one because it breaks a lot, right? So I'm in this really torn place where I'm like, on the one hand, I get where she's coming from, but on the flip side, I'd like to know a real picture of whatever it is I'm going for.
Yeah.
And I don't want this biased, most people have put negatives on, only a few people are. So when the businesses are asking for it, I kind of get it. I don't like it, but I do kind of get it. And I also said to the other, on the flip side is, this is way off topic now, because this is specifically about the review type topic. I was like, but do you think an exceptional individual at his job and a poor individual at his job should be paid the same? And she went, well, no. And I was like, so how do we know who's exceptional and who's poor? How do we do that? You can't have a supervisor or management person per staff member to watch them. You can't do that, right?
Robots.
You end up management heavy.
You just get those robots we saw yesterday on Instagram to pack the shops.
You end up being management heavy and just like the British Army. You can't do that. So how do you differentiate between person A, who's customer facing, who's dreadful, and person B, who's customer facing? So you can look at sales figures, and you can look at that kind. But ultimately, it's going to be down to people reviewing them and 100%. Saying person B is exceptional. And I think in my world, person B should make more money than person A. And obviously in hospitality, that used to be through things like tipping.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, people are reluctant to tip so much nowadays because no one's got any fucking money left.
Well, it's not only that, it's like, you know, most times when you're going to like, you know, most fast food establishments, even like a Nando's and that, or even like some cafes and stuff, you're ordering a QR code. So you're not tipping someone when you're either paying up front or all you're doing is telling the robot what you want, and then someone's got to bring it to you. And soon enough, that will come on a fucking drone.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? It's something that I'm very conscious of, because we've been talking in the business plan with Hobby House about how we set bonus targets, because I'm a firm believer in bonus targets. I'm a person who likes to set a respectable salary level, and if people achieve above and beyond and we see growth, we don't go, thanks for the business growth, thanks for increasing our profit by 100% in a year, have a pizza. I think that's bullshit. I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that. I'm a case of, thank you so much for helping us grow our revenue by 100%. Here's a financial reward for that, and incentive to do it again next year, right? We're going to share this because we wouldn't have made this without you, so we're going to share it with you.
They're respectable.
And so I want to be setting targets for people that are realistic. They have to be realistic. They're not moving. I don't like to move goalposts. I've done it before. I've set a target. People have achieved it in 2 months out of a year. I'm like, fuck, I set that far too low. I don't move it. You've achieved it. You've done it. Next year, guess what? It's not going to be that easy. But I also won't go, say I told you, we needed to increase revenue by 10% and you did it in a month. I'm like, oh, next year I'm not going to go, we need to increase revenue by 120% because you did 10% in a month last. I'm not going to do that. That's bollocks. But you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, it's representative.
Yeah. So you have to grow it, But I think that I'm very conscious with Hobby House that people will review negatively more often than they'll probably review positively. And so what you have to do as a business is you have to go, please review us.
Yeah.
And then I'm also conscious that people get pissed off of that.
I mean, I'm expecting just to see the Google reviews page full of wasn't Joe. It was Toby.
Like the start of the stream, yeah.
It's like, 1 out of 10 wasn't Joe.
House of the Lord Corbin says, depends on the pizza. I'm very pizza orientated.
Got to be 2 pizzas at least.
It's just not something. It's just I try and be a very ethical and responsible manager and owner. I've done it in every job I've been in management, and I do not like the whole well done staff. But
the pizza party.
But this is like in my last job, my last proper employment job before I did YouTube for a living. There was the amount of revenue I generated in the year was in the tens of millions, right? Revenue generated. How much of that is net profit? I'm not entirely sure. My bonus was less than 0.1%.
Yeah.
By a lot. I can't remember the exact number it was. Like, I'll tell you what my bonus was, because I don't want to tell you my bonus and what I made, because that's just a shit fucking brag, right? But I can give you the percentage that it was.
Here we go. He loves maths. All day it's maths.
It is, isn't it? 0.018% was my bonus of the money that I generated, and that just felt like a bit of a kick in the nuts.
Did you also get a pizza?
No.
Not even, and no pizza.
But that was part of what pushed me to come and do this.
Yeah.
In seriousness, it was, because I was like, I can make significantly less money than I did for that company, but 100% of it's for my business, rather than I get 0.017% or whatever it was.
I learned, my management training came from a very, very lovely old guy. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore, but he said, one thing that's always stuck with me is he'd never worked hard for someone who didn't treat him with respect. So if someone's mugging you off or someone's constantly shouting at you and things like that, I've never personally gone to a member of staff and been like, what the fuck are you doing? Pack it in, that's not good enough, you've got to work harder, and come away from that situation and been like, they're definitely going to work harder now. I had a boss once who used to go at me all the time, and I'd work as hard as I could. And eventually I got to the point like, so he's going to come in here and I've done a good job, and he's going to say, but it's not a great job. Why haven't you done this? Or we have to have a conversation about this or whatever. And this is when I was probably about 20. I used to go home and think, why am I busting my balls for you? Now I'm here.
When I worked at Siemens, I was a production manager at Siemens. I had a staff of 19 people on the shop floor at any one time. When I took over the team, when I got the job, I was an external candidate, and I got the job in the management role. And when I took over the job, my boss at the time said to me, good luck. And I went, what do you mean good luck? He went, well, now you've taken the job and you've signed the contract, let's have a chat about your shift. I was like, okay. He said, they are the most belligerent, lazy, uninterested. They're the worst performing shifts on the depot out of 5 shifts, right? They're the worst. I was like, okay. He went, they're in a state, no one can seem to get a tune out of them, right? I was like, right, okay. 12 months later, fast forward 12 months, I was there for 3 years, but 12 months later, they had become the best performing shift on the depot by a significant margin as well, like a huge margin.
Yeah.
And he was like, the fuck did you do? I was like, nothing special. There was a couple of things I did. There was 3 main things I think I did that attributed to their improvement. The first one was the fact that when I started, I spent 3-4 weeks in coveralls in the pit learning their job.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how the fuck do I manage your job if I don't know how you do your job?
Yeah, makes sense.
And I can't say to you, how is that job not done yet, when I have no idea what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
I'm an engineer by trade, so by learning all what they were doing and how their flow was, and how long things took and the challenges they faced and how disinterested the stores system were, blah, 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 I could better understand when they said, boss, we've got problems, and I could try and help them solve those problems. The second thing I did, which I think was very simple, was I treated them like adults, and I treated them as the subject matter experts.
Yeah.
So it was a case of, if you're at a point where you're like, I'm at a convenient point to stop, I can go and have my break now, because if I carry on, I'm going to get in someone else's way. And it's just, I'm like, these people on the shop floor, they will know the most efficient way of doing the job.
Yeah.
They just will, because they do it every fucking day. And humans are naturally lazy, so they'll find the way to cut the corner.
Yeah.
So what I do is I go, well, if that's the logical place for you to have your break, then have your break. Why am I going to tell you not to? So manage your own time. But equally, if you're cutting a corner, how do I just make sure that we legitimize it and make sure it's safe, right? And then the third thing I did, which I think was actually the most important, I knew one of the production managers who every time their shift were bad would fucking scream and shout at them, and every time their shift were good would say nothing. So every day I was the first in and the last out. And as the last out, I would stand there at the clocking out machine when we had a good day. Every single day we had a good day, and thank every single person that left for their work that day. Despite the fact they've just done their job, but saying thank you is not difficult.
No.
It's really fucking easy.
I was really hoping you were going to say, and then what I did, the most important thing was we had that fucking pizza party.
I mean, I did. There was quite a few occasions where they'd really dug in, where I would pay for shift takeaway. They loved it, but we also had a bonus scheme that worked at the same time, right? So it wasn't instead of a bonus
just
scheme.
the pizza.
No, right, exactly. But I just think that is, I just think that is such basics. And how that was the rocket science, supposedly, that got them from the worst performing shifts on the depot to the best performing shifts on the depot. I was like, but that's not complicated stuff to put that in place. And if you just treat people with respect and you look after them, I've said this forever, right? In general, staff are your business.
Yeah. And
people go, customers most important. I don't agree. Staff are most important.
We had this conversation. I was at a manager's meeting with Fuller's once, and there was this whole thing about like, this is the customer experience. We need to make sure they're the happiest people, blah, blah. They had this massive flow chart of how everything, and we got to this. Anyone got any questions? I said, you've missed something on your sheet. And the whole room looked at me, and I was like, I'm in trouble now because I've said something I'm not meant to say. But I was like, you've missed the staff. And they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, what's giving the customer the experience? And they were like, well, the staff. And I'm like, yeah, but if they're not included in your how to make sure the customers have the best time, you have to make sure the staff are happy, because if you've got happy staff, you have happy customers. It's not difficult, is it? And then I got called aside after my meeting and was like, probably shouldn't have said that, but actually well done.
But it's right. Every business, every major business, customer's most important. Nah, bollocks. Because ultimately, if your staff, especially the ones at the bottom, especially the ones that are customer facing, if they're not happy, then your customers aren't happy.
No, that's it, because they'll do. And then again, and that's why, when you go to work and you think, is he going to shout at me today? Or you're going in and you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. If you don't want to be there, you're not going to be efficient at your job.
If you wake up in the morning and you think, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that today. I'm not interested. There's a little problem, and we all have those days. But if it becomes the common thought process, so I'm always a keen advocate for. I want my staff to be as happy as they possibly can be, because they'll do the best job they can if they're happy as they possibly can. And there are a few bad apples that are exceptions to the rule, but they're not commonplace. And then if they give those customers those experiences, then I have those happy customers, because if those staff work for me at that level, my business works.
Yeah, of course.
And if they don't, it doesn't. And if I've got to spend exceptional amounts of time trying to motivate them and get them to do things properly, well, then I can't do what I should be doing in senior management, and the business stagnates, and et cetera, right? But,
And then we can't afford Floorgate.
We can't afford Floorgate. Floorgate's got better.
Floorgate has got better.
Floorgate's got better.
Doorgate has
Doorgate can get in the sea.
Doorgate's in the river.
Yeah. Now we're currently in Lightgate.
Lightgate, yeah. A new gate today. Bingate is ongoing.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
Tablegate is going to be an interesting one.
So Tablegate, we have differing opinions on where that's going to cost us. So obviously the way we got onto this chat was by suggesting, to bring it back onto topic, was that you'll hear more negative than you'll hear positive. If we map this back across to the 40k space, negative news travels faster, negative reviews travel faster. The people that either scoff at your wrong squad markings, tell you that you can't run them as Iron Hands, or are masquerading as narrative whilst being hyper competitive, or even at the other end of the scale, the people that are going to throw their toys out the pram when they're not winning, quit after game 2 and delete all their social media posts, they're actually quite rare. But you hear about them the most because they're kind of the extreme case. You'll hear about 200 people at an event, right? One person's a bell end, 199 enjoy themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's the one you hear about? 0.5% of the audience is the one you hear about.
Yeah,
that's it.
The one that charges you to learn to play better games.
Yeah. Well, we shouldn't get personal. We probably should. Anyway, I would love to know what you guys think. This isn't right. This is doing it all the time. It just, for some reason, it just doesn't like picking up 20 gifteds. Look, they're just not on the screen.
Oh my goodness, we've had many a green thing and a red thing. Is that an orange thing? An orange thing.
There's an orange thing. There was also a red thing that's not on here either.
Oh, that's helpful.
Oh, fuck's sake. There's got to be a way we can...
Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't already.
Is there a way I can get the red one back up?
254 people watching and only 89 likes. Hit that like button.
We're also, at the moment, chat, we're on a mighty 80 gifted memberships.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Sort of reset.
20 more and I'm not getting hit with a spade.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah, there you go. So that's my view. So, and sometime in the near future, we're going to be putting adverts out for staff at Hobby House. So, you know.
Yeah, come work for us.
Yeah, ignore the bamboo cane in the corner.
Yeah, that's it. The shovel is purely for upper management.
Yeah, I'm going to say thank you to the 20 gifters first because they're up here at the moment and they're going to go away. So, Shiite Kant and Matt O'Reilly both gifted 20, and the secret there is they're the same person.
So Matt O'Reilly's actually given 40.
He's gifted 40.
Being the big fucking gifter again.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate it. So Matt O'Reilly likes me a bit.
He does a little bit, yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry I'm not Joe, everybody. I'll try harder next time.
Yeah.
For not being Joe.
Oh,
sorry. Okay.
You're Joe, you've got to do the hopes.
I've got to do the hope, haven't I? Okay. I'm not locked to servo turret hopes now, am I? Or?
You're locked to whatever hopes you lock yourself to, mate.
Okay, so Matt O'Reilly, I hope the next time you're in the supermarket, you go to buy a gift card for either Amazon or, I don't know, PlayStation Store or whatever. And you go, I'm going to go the $5 one or whatever. And when you put it onto your device, whether it's Amazon or whatever, it's actually a £100 gift card, and they've made a balls up somewhere.
£100? $100?
Matt O'Reilly money.
Australian dollars.
Is that real money?
Yeah, but $100 Australian dollars is like 15 quid.
So he can have, it could be, if I gave him £100,
yeah,
he'd actually get more.
There you
go
yeah.
then. So
Perfect.
yeah, so $5 shitty dollar card actually is £100 for your chosen website.
Thank you, Matt, for the 40. And then thank you, Rossonero7847 for the 20 gifted memberships.
20 gifted memberships. Well, I hope for you that you receive a parcel at some stage, and you're like, who's this from? I don't know what it is. And then inside it is a plane ticket to Hobby House. And you can come and I'll set you up a narrative table and you can play.
What will holidays look like at Hobby House, and how will streaming interact with that? What do you mean by holidays, Eternal Crusader? What do you mean? I look, right. There's
Lutin's in the chat.
I know, he's been in the chat for ages.
Oh, I love Lutin. I love your content. I'm a fanboy now. Lutin, can you come and help me write a Hobby House narrative campaign?
And read your fucking emails.
Yeah, we sent you an email this morning. and please reply all so I don't get left out again.
Yeah. Toby gets really upset when I email people, CC him in, and I get a reply and he doesn't.
Yeah, and you won't let me use the crying corner. I'm told I'm not allowed to go in crying corner. Outrageous. Outrageous.
So the thing is with streams, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. I assume you mean... about Christmas and where we're going to be open and etc. The thing is with streaming, and I'm trying not to get my violin out. I'm desperately trying to not get my my violin out at the moment. But I'll be open and honest, right? Hobby House is paying me zero. I'm not making any money from it, and I suspect that that's going to likely be the case for probably the next 2 to 5 years, because it's more important that the business makes its money so it can pay its staff, whose salary is by the minute going down.
Well, technically, I'm currently working for free.
Yeah,
because the HMRC.
Well, no, I have a HMRC number now. I just don't have the activation code, which should come soon, and then I can activate it and we'll be good. And it said within 7 days, and we've got
that relies on some person not turning.
It said within 7 days, and we've got 17 days before your pay date, so I should be fine. We should be okay.
Victory dance.
We should be okay.
If not, I'm eyeing up underneath the table for my new bed.
So in essence, the streams, it's more important than ever that the channel does well, because the income which covers for me and Joe and Luce is not... I think people have got it in their head that Hobby House is going to be paying me money as a business. It's not.
It's currently costing him a lot of money. Every time we go, I've got a quote in. How bad is it? It's bad.
Yeah.
Is it over budget? Considerably.
So, yeah. So, please get to 100 members, because so over the Christmas periods, will we be open yet? I don't know. We've got some critical path items on the project which are causing us some concern. I would rather open well in January than open badly before Christmas.
Yeah, there is, for want of not mincing my words, the longer amount of time before opening is the less likelihood that we absolutely fuck it.
Yeah. exactly. And considering what we've just talked about for a long time about reviews,
I went to Hobby House and it was so bad my nan died.
Yeah.
Don't really want that.
No!
It's hard to get that off Google, I'll be honest.
But then she shouldn't be at the top of the stairs.
Take that, Granny.
That's a service you can pay for. Yeah. So, in essence, the streaming won't change. It will carry on because I need to continue that revenue. Otherwise, I can't afford to pay Joe and my other bills. One thing that people are getting slightly confused at is that give what you used me in your thumbnail. Are you Mr. Corn Man?
Oh, I fucking love.
Are you Mr. Corn Man?
I think it is Mr. Corn Man.
Narrative is where the soul of the hobby is. Yeah, I used you and Joe. Joe, whose head you're cutting off, is my staff member. Are you Mr. Corn Man? I fucking love you. Anyway, sorry. What was I saying? Yeah, so there's this current confusion that exists between people where they think that Hobby House and what is so my business for YouTube is Liam Dempsey Media Group. That's the business name, right? And Hobby House is the other business. They're two separate businesses.
They happen to be in the same building, but the fact that Liam is involved in them, that's basically where it kind of ends.
Hobby House now has the rent for the whole building. Hobby House charges me rent, and I pay Hobby House rent.
Yeah, so you're actually paying your own rent.
I am paying my own. I'm paying. Yeah, they are two separate businesses.
Yeah.
Right. They are two separate businesses. So Hobby House cannot supplement me. I can put money into Hobby House because I'm building the business. That's fine. But Hobby House isn't supplementing me right now, nor is it paying me a wage. Now, I am a director, so it could pay me a director's wage in the future if it was doing very, very well, which I obviously hope it does.
It will also be an affiliate for you, won't it? You will be an affiliate of Hobby House from this business.
Yeah. So there we go.
And I am just the helmet guy. As someone who works downstairs to be a part of this and feel the mighty show.
This man, right, wears the helmet throughout the whole game.
I know, and does like press ups and starts just shouting "blood for the blood god." Like
I fucking love you.
I would like, please come over here and play. Oh, dreams!
What an absolute legend. Yeah, we were. Joe put the picture of this what the thumbnail is in our team chat on. I think it was Friday when he had the photo taken. We were talking about you.
Yeah,
a man who wears a World Eater's Berserker helmet and carries a chain axe throughout the whole game is a fucking legend in my eyes.
I mean, and I bet you know what, he doesn't whine about it like the Pickle Joe situation.
Yeah, that's the kind of person where I'd come up against him against opposite side of the table and be like, "This is going to be fun."
You don't even care who wins, do you?
Right, exactly.
You're just like, this is going to be the best game ever.
Yeah. So what a hero. I hope you don't mind me using your picture, but oh my God, what a legend. Mate, I hate how complicated it is with business legally. It is, yeah, but it's worth doing it right because ultimately, here's the thing. YouTube's challenging at the moment. YouTube's quite hard right now. And revenue's down for a lot of channels. It's down across the boards. Views are down. YouTube are changing loads of things. They're bringing lots of AI in. There's a fucking whole raft of problems. They've had over the course of the last month. They've had a sea of channels that have been cancelled. The YouTube AI bot has gone. It's infringed. It's in contravention of something cancelled, and they've had to start reopening these channels back up again because and imagine that. Imagine waking up and going, "Where the fuck's my channel gone?"
I mean, that's not great, is it?
No, exactly. So YouTube's a bit all over the place. There's a world where the channel fails. It's possible. Any business is possible.
Yeah.
Right? If the channel fails, I need to not impact Hobby House. There's a world where Hobby House fails. And if Hobby House fails and YouTube is going well, I need it not to impact YouTube.
And I'll be looking for a new job.
But with both of them, I'm in the shit either way. So.
Well, yes, that's it. That's it. But we've already decided that we're opening a coffee shop if the worst happens.
I was in the Gold Champs Worlds and, hang on, it's gone. Oh no, I can't scroll. Too many people. I want to see what he says. I'm going to.
He said he's coming to the UK after he's got another kid.
I saw
out.
that. Yeah. It says
open invitation to Hobby House.
I was in the Gold Champ World competition and I ran the first ever list I made at age 10 with 60 Corn Berserkers and was more a comic relief for comp players. That sounds fucking brilliant.
Honestly, that is the kind of energy we all need to.
What a hero
to be.
What an absolute hero. I love you.
And everyone laughed at me when I said I'd dress up as a fucking servo turret. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, comp players need to learn to play fun list, not tuned. Yeah,
but that's their Warhammer. They can play it their way.
I'm okay with them running comp lists that are tuned. I just would have more fun doing what you're doing. To be fair, That's just my preference. All right, we've got a bunch of super chats to get through as well as some other gifteds. We're on 85 gifted right now, chat. Let's get good. I used his picture in the thumbnail, not knowing who he was, and now he's here. And we can say, are you okay with it? It's too late, I've used it. What you could do is you could gift him a membership. You gift him a membership to the channel, get him involved. You know, we've got Tom who loves World Eaters. I'm a World Eaters fan. Nick, who's the first super chat's a huge World Eaters fan. Thank you, Nick. Narrative players who act like comp tawnies are the devil are some of the most tiresome in the space. Narrative's great. Narrative's great. Just don't be wanky about it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I don't understand a world where people have differing opinions and they just can't accept the other side of the story.
As I said earlier, I don't want to go back and traipse over my own footsteps too much, but the worst narrative players are the ones that have literally read every single piece of lore ever and then hold you to it when you're not necessarily in the same ilk as them, you know, and that's where it gets really crazy. It's like, yes, but in the second edition rulebook on page 468, it specifically states this, and you're like, bro, I wasn't even alive.
Yeah.
And I have a life and probably a girlfriend.
Yeah, I think I don't know who I think is worse. The worst competitive. So the worst competitive players aren't the most competitive players. Interestingly, it's the little group of people that sit below the best competitive players who want to be the best but quality aren't the best.
Yeah, the ones who aren't good enough to always win, who lose and get shitty about it.
Paula's ballots have don't be wanky about it is basically the main advice for life. I have a phrase in Thanes, right?
Here we go. This is going to be something that's probably not very PC.
Get ready for demonetization. Right, there's two types of people in the world.
Yeah,
good cunts, bad cunts.
There you go.
Right? It's true.
That's on a fucking t-shirt we're not selling.
It's true. Two types of people in the world, good cunts, bad cunts. The main rule in life is don't be a bad cunt. Yeah. The rule for the channel, the rule for Hobby House, don't be a dickhead. It's as simple as that.
I will try and phrase that in a less offensive way.
Can we not have that above the door? Don't be a dickhead?
No, it's on the book, Liam. It's in the book.
Thank you, Roland Bain, for the $100. Joe, National Treasure. That's, I think, when he thought Joe was on the stream.
Yeah, probably.
Of the thumbnail picture
I'm really fucking sorry that I'm here.
He then super chatted another $20 and went, "No, Joe."
Okay, well, I'm really fucking sorry I'm here. Christ, this is only my third time ever on the channel. Literally, what have I done to anybody?
How do you think I feel? It's my name on the front of the channel, and they all care about Joe.
Well, that's it.
Dan, thank you for the $5. The classic golden rule: don't be a cockwomble. Be an art of war, not a box. Right? I get the reference.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Yep. Moving quickly on, but thank you for the $5. You're a legend. Priddis, thank you for the $5. What is narrative to you two? That's a good question. Do you want to go first? I love that question, Priddis, by the way.
Narrative to me is theming my list around something that feels slightly, not necessarily 100% lore accurate, but has a theme to it. So, for example, my Terminator list is a great example of it. You know, it's not the most necessarily narrative thing, but there is a narrative that kind of plays into. And then taking that with an opponent on a table that kind of allows a story to be forged and then playing it out with dice rolls, not re-rolling fucking command points, you know.
Narrative to me, it's hard, isn't it? Because I think for me personally, I think I've got two answers, and I don't want to be a politician about this, but I think I've got two answers.
Here we go.
Answer number one for me is something that adheres to Games Workshop's lore.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that it's ever changing. So I'm currently building Ultramarines to 8th edition Codex supplement, which shows the 10 companies of the Ultramarines chapter. And it's written essentially around the old Tacticus stuff.
Yeah.
So it's 8 squads or 6 squads of tactical and 2 squads of close support and 2 squads of fire support and dreadnoughts and lieutenants, which actually doesn't fully work with Primaris. So then what I'm doing is I'm trying to kind of retroactively map Primaris into that chapter to make them fit. So the battle line stuff, I'm like, well, that will be intercessors and heavy intercessors, and then the close support stuff would be assault intercessors with jump packs, and the fire support, well, that's probably going to be
tanks.
No, the fire support will be Hellblasters or T-shirt launchers, and then and I'm trying to do that. So that's my own personal version of narrative, is trying to make it map to something I've heard in a book or seen in a codex or something like that, right? But my wider answer is that a narrative can be anything to anyone.
That's a very political answer.
It is, but it is though, right?
But it's true, yeah.
I personally don't want to be in a space where narratively I'm running 7 Space Marine captains in a single list. Me personally, I don't think that's very narrative. It's not my narrative. But that's not to say that someone can't come with a decent written piece of narrative and me go, I fucking love that. That's cool.
And that's it. And again, it's like, that's why I say, like, the bad narrative people are the ones who take the law like it's gospel and then try and enforce that on your toys.
Right, exactly. So it's that's a bit of a shitty political answer, Britters, honestly, but narrative can be literally anything, and it's whatever you make it. And if people don't accept your narrative, I mean, there are also some weak fucking cases out there, right? But, and I've seen some lists in the past where I'm like, the fuck is this? But if you're not, like, if your list is clearly nonsense, they're like, I bought a nonsense list, and what?
Yeah, I just thought it'd be funny.
That's fucking cool as well. I love that, right? So it doesn't have to be narrative for me to think it's cool, to be very clear. We did a test last night. We asked people to put a 1, 2, or a 3 in, right? A 1 if they design their list narratively, a 2 if they design their list with rule of cool, or a 3 if they design their list for competitive play.
Okay.
Do you know what the majority was?
1 and 2.
2 was the majority. 1 was a very close
the
second.
toys they want to play with.
Yeah, 2 was the highest, 1 was the close second. And I love rule of claw and stupid lists. There was a friend of mine called Toby, funny old thing, who went to Beachhead last year, and his list was like, I think it was like 4 Wraith Knights and a Wraith Seer. That was
Love that.
And narrative? Fuck no. Cool as shit? Yes.
It's fun.
Yeah. But he's not trying to spin some like crazy narrative. He's like, I just thought it looked cool.
Yeah, it's Monster Mash. It's
Yeah,
just like, I want my big toys, wait, let's get Tom fucking 4 Lords of Skulls and put that on the table.
It says, Luton, you're the only law YouTuber that I don't dislike. That's fucking, what a compliment that is. That's amazing.
Bringing people together in the great hall. There you go.
I love it. We still haven't got Get Good a membership yet, chat. Just so I'm saying, just you know.
And again, just to reiterate that there is a spade with my name on it if we don't hit 100.
We're on 85. We're close. Lively Panda, thank you for the $5. Remember, Tobias, the flesh is weak, and so are your hurt feelings.
Well, I can't believe it. I thought, I get to talk to everyone, man. That'd be really nice. Where's Joe? I want Joe. Toby's not Joe.
Yeah, I mean, it's facts.
One day you'll get a Joe and Tobe show.
Are you ready for us? Well, that would be a spectacle, I'm sure. That would be a narrative ditlock that would last aeons. Are you ready for a spat of hopes?
Oh, fuck me, I suppose.
You ready for quick fire hopes?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike the Rhino, for 5 gifted memberships.
I hope next time you tune into a stream and you think Joe's there, it's not fucking me.
I'm hoping Joe's not fucking you either. That would get us demonetized.
It would, and I'd like to think that for that to happen, it would be more than 5 gifted memberships. Fair, I'd need some recompense for that.
Cornet Ed, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
5 gifted memberships. Cornet Ed, I hope next time you go to your LFG and buy some toys, they mistakenly send you someone else's order, which subsequently has everything you wanted in it, plus more.
Oh, I love it. Keith Rogers, thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
I hope that your favourite TV or film series gets a sequel and it's not shite.
I love it. Thank you, Larry Panda, for the 5 gifted memberships.
I hope next time you tune into a stream on the channel, your favourite army is being played and it's a really fun game.
Thank you, Pie Walker, for 5 gifted memberships.
I hope next time you walk, Pie Walker, you find many a pie. I'm fucking, we're getting through this.
And then finally, thank you, Brandon Lagasse, for 5 gifted memberships.
I hope that whenever anyone uses your name, Brandon Lagasse, they always pronounce it the way that Liam just has.
Yeah.
Forever.
We're up to 90.
90? Oh, only 10 more and I'm not getting hit with a shovel.
Thank you, Big Bad Peter Gaming, for the $2. He says, your steps are dangerous, Liam. They are dangerous. They are. My steps are, there are many steps. What's worse is carrying 750 kilos of shelving.
I can't, we have to order some more for tomorrow. We have to order some more for
Maybe
more
not for tomorrow. Maybe for like next week.
Have we spent too much money this week?
We've spent a lot.
It's a number of bins that has been spent.
Yeah, it's a number of bins. 2,400 bins to be precise.
Yeah.
And that's irrelevant to you lot because you don't know how much we paid for the first bin.
Bin gate.
It's a
real problem here.
Yeah, we measure total hobby house spend in bins. 2,437 bins so far we could have had for the money we've spent.
Wasn't the cheapest bin either.
Yeah, so, bins range from £5 to £100, so you can, thank you so much, the House of the Lord Corvus, for the €6. Honestly, that's what I thought would happen when I bought my Poker Catan list, funny out till I steamrolled the entire tournament.
Love it.
Yeah. I love it. I do love it. Thank you, Lee Russ, for the $5. Hello, and Fake Joe. I want to say thank you for the amazing content you've done recently. This has kept me sane in the stroke ward as a patient. Yeah, he's gone in with. He's had. Did you have the results of your MRI and CT?
Oh, I hope
Josh?
you feel better soon.
Yeah, hugs, mate.
And Diet Joe here Sending you all the well wishes.
He's had a problem, and they've taken him into the stroke ward, and they've done the CT and an MRI. I don't think they had the results back yesterday.
Well, we've got everything crossed.
Everything's crossed.
And in all honesty, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, fingers and toes crossed, and later Toby and I can cross penises. Lovely Panda, thank you for the $5. I pulled out the Broken Realms Be'lakor book recently, and it made me realise how much I missed pitched battles.
Oh, pitched battles.
What remind me? What's pitched battles?
So it was like a way of playing back where it's kind of a lot more formulaic, sort of like not here's a million fucking rules you got to play. It's like here's your fucking battle, go, kill, fun.
Nice. Toby's watching the kids, isn't he? You said we have to come and do the floor. Yeah. Yeah. Carl offers to come do the floor. I said, well, Toby can watch the children.
I'm not.
If we hit 99 gifts total, we get close enough. Also get to see Toby hit with a spade. Win-win.
I mean, I'll be honest with you.
That's flatting. That's flatting.
I'm not going down without a fight.
Got my diagnosis. It's Bell's palsy. My landlord had Bell's palsy. If it helps, Josh, he's perfectly fine now. So there is a recovery. I don't know if that helps much, but there is a recovery for.
Still sending well wishes.
100%. Yeah, it's not as bad as a stroke, I believe. So, lots of hugs, mate. Lots of love for Josh. Flooney's Hobby Time. What a great fucking name. Thank you for the €6. Take a look at the Heresy 3rd edition Force Org chart. It basically makes you build narrative army lists. It shouldn't be very difficult to port it over.
It's right. Okay, so as a Mechanicum player for Heresy, my Force Org for Mechanicum is complicated. I think Heresy army building. I said it the other day, right? 40k is a game that is easy to learn, difficult to master. Heresy is the other way around. There's so much to it, and I think that the Force Org in Heresy 3.0 is good. I preferred second ed, but it does take a little bit of kind of whacking your head round it.
I love it. I'm just thinking about, Votan, Drakari, Eldar, and then Orcs, Necrons, etc. And do they fit Force Orgs? No, they used to. So logically, the answer is yes.
I mean, it's quite straightforward because you can put a sort of like a traditional Force Org, like a modern version of a Force Org in. What they haven't done, which they used to do definitely in Sigmar, is if you're taking X character as your general, it doesn't have to be a name character, that makes this particular thing battle line. So you're no longer locked to 3. You can have 6, for example. They do it in the Wraith Host attachment, don't they? You can take Wraith Guard as
restrictions are good for focusing narrative, as we've discussed previously. But the problem is things like battle line units, right? Battle line units aren't all created equally.
No.
Character units aren't all created equally. And so everyone can only take 3 characters. But Gene Stealer cult characters are cheap as fucking chips.
Yeah.
And they're just a little unit upgrade. And then Space Marine captains are massive hunch bastards, but you both only get 3 options.
Well, yeah, so then you have to kind of go down the line, like I was saying in Thanes earlier, where you can kind of set like a what do you call it? A Highlander version of characters. So you go, okay, so you get 2 characters for 1,000 points, add 1,000 points onto a 2,000 point game, you're getting 3 characters. But then lieutenants would fall into the split line where, like in 9th edition, you go, well, I'm going to take 2 because technically there was 2 in a company. Gene Stealer Cult's another one where you go, well, technically you might only have 1 Magos, or you might only have 1 fucking big, not quite a Broodlord, but a Broodlord, a Patriarch, right? But your support characters, you're probably going, well, actually, within 1 slot of that, you can sub that out to potentially 3 because those armies require the smaller characters in order to not only play properly, but also fit the narrative. That's how they play. So there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution to it either.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Also, it's called lieutenants. The restrictions help to focus, but why do you need restrictions to do narrative? How many people don't? Exactly, I agree.
Well, yeah. I mean, if everyone just goes, let's have a narrative game, and there's a fairly equal understanding of what that means to both people, then your problems are solved.
To be fair, though, Omega Idiot is a great name, by the way. It needs better reason to come back than it helps narrative. I agree with you. So, but I don't think you need. So, if you were to bring back something like Force Org or Formations or whatever. There is a world where you can bring back Force Orgs and Formations for narrative play, and you continue the same system for competitive play.
That's exactly what I said. So that's why I was saying open play is currently what I think the rule set is. Open it to me is bring whatever fucking toys you want to bring. It's all good.
So what we're saying is, ultimately, I don't think that I want competitive players to be restricted by narrative players, and I don't want narrative players to be fucking paddled by competitive players.
So here's a fucking maybe a hot take, maybe not. But what I would do is I'd bin Crusade. I'd go, right, here's your narrative rule set. It works at 500 points up to fucking however many you want to go.
Yeah. I'd like that sort of thing, to be fair. You're right with what you're saying. I absolutely agree with you. And this is the thing. You end up with a group over here that call themselves the narrative players, and you end up with a group over here that call themselves the competitive players, and they're like, you should do this. No, you should do this. You should do this. You should do this. And I'm like, no. We don't. That's not how it works. You don't have one group that tries to wrestle everybody else to think like them.
No.
That's why fucking modern day politics is an absolute fucking mess, because people can't listen to every side of the argument and find something that fits the majority.
Fundamentally, right, more ways to play should never be seen as a negative, because it gives you more ways to play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Brent, thank you for the 10 Australian dollars. Good luck. I'm with you guys. Love you. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Despite the fact that currently people in America won't be able to do much to help us.
No, unless they want to fly over and buy stuff and then put it in a suitcase and carry it back.
You can do that. It's probably net cheaper than
buying
it from Games Workshop in America.
And you get to do it with a nice coffee or a white hot chocolate or a milkshake.
That white hot chocolate is going to sell, man.
Oh my fucking God. You'll be coming for your models and going, I can't afford my models now. I've bought 17 white hot chocolates.
They are fucking incredible.
Wild.
Thank you, Keith Rogers, for the $5. I got a hope that didn't involve Kenny Loggins. I am shooketh. Who's Kenny Loggins?
I don't know. I mean, I was literally just rapid firing those hopes, and it came out. It could have been much worse. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Brilliant idea to Bin Crusade. It's supposed to be narrative, but almost no one plays it. Love the idea to replace it with rules for the narrative. Yeah, exactly that.
That solves all your problems.
And what you can do is you can go, here's a force organisation chart, like the old combined arms attachment.
Yep.
And if you're playing narratively, here's a bunch of restrictions. You can only take one captain or one
here's
one
the other
overlord.
thing, right? If you're taking Crusade out, you give each army its own force org, which is narrative.
Right. And each army in that Crusade section would then have restrictions.
Exactly.
One captain, 2 lieutenants, 1 overlord,
but your orc force org, like you just said, would be different to your Space Marine one because of what would naturally fit in a war. Or in a you could have like 2 or 3 detachments that are themed around different sort of formations or force orgs within each book, because you're just taking out the Crusade rules and fitting it in another way around.
Kenny Loggins sung the old Danger Zone song, right? Okay,
what a banger.
I missed that somehow. Okay. Every time I get a wish from Joe, it involves Kenny Loggins being somewhere when I go there.
I see Luton's asked, how will the hobby house be open for people just coming down, hanging out with games over a day? It's not going to be GW playing out the door attitude. 100% not. It is going to be the home, your hobby house.
Hanging out with a game over a day, etc. No. So we're going to have booking slots. And depending on demand will depend on how regimented those slots are.
Yep.
Okay. We need to avoid a situation where a person turns up in the morning, sits on a table for a day, spends £0 and leaves. That is not good for business, obviously, especially if people want to come in and play games and buy coffee and enjoy themselves and do some hobby.
So you have to be able to book the tables, and obviously some people will book for card games, which means you take up less room. Some people will book for a game of like 40k, Heresy, Old World, AOS or something, and some people might want to book and just hobby. Yeah,
for the most part. I can't imagine on a normal daily basis that the tables are all going to be fully booked. I'd imagine that weekends will be relatively busy, and I'd imagine that evenings will be quite busy. And weekends, we intend to put lots of events on. So there'll be a booking system. If you've booked for, say, I don't know, midday till 5 p.m. and no one turns up because there's no booking after you and you want to stay there, that's fine.
Yep.
You know, so there's a balancing act to strike, right? However, the whole idea of Hobby House, cheesy brand statement incoming, right, is we've said to people, make Hobby House your hobby home. The idea is that the tables we're hoping to be built, depending on cost, with charge points in every single one, wireless chargers for your phone, but plus 3-point plugs. And the reason why we have 3-point plugs
and USB-C ports
and USB-C. The reason why we have 3-point plugs is because hobby lamps will be available, so you can sit at a table and play a game of Warhammer. You can also sit and hobby. So the table is going to be multi-use. You can also sit and play card games. We're going to be selling card games as well as selling Warhammer and paints and paintbrushes and what have you. But on top of which there'll be many snacks, things that you don't have to heat because it's different food-based license. So crisps, chocolates, possibly cakes, sandwiches, that kind of stuff.
But we're talking like, not like a fucking mug of Nescafe, and that. We're talking like proper nice coffees, homemade milkshakes, nice smoothies, a decent can of Coke, a bottle of beer. And not only will we have those tables, but we should have an area which is just social space, right? So if someone wants just to go and sit down, have a game, and if you're like having the table for the whole day, there's nothing to stop you booking and going, I'm going to come in and play a game with one mate, then I'm going to sit, have a coffee with him for a while, and then my other mate might come in the afternoon. You'll be able to block book and do things like that if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But the idea is you come in and it's a day, isn't it? If you want it to be, as long as you're supporting us in the ways that it needs for it to become sustainable. Because there's no point really being a consumer coming in for the whole day, booking your table, not buying anything from us, and then doing that week in, week out, because then the business model doesn't work, and then you won't be able to do it at all because we'll have to close.
If you're buying teas and coffees and hot chocolates and etc., we need to figure out, we need to speak to some local businesses, because we're also looking at whether I can take an order from you for hot food, where we take the order from you, we arrange it for you, and a local business delivers it.
Yeah.
I'll reframe everything I've just said, Luton, to make it a significantly more simple answer. My job is to make you want to stay in the venue.
Yes.
Right? That's my job. My job is to make you want to stay in the venue, to be comfortable, to be warm or cool, depending on the time of year it is, to not have music blasted at you, to not get a headache because of the lighting, to have a lovely options for drinks and food.
You're not going to freeze and you're not going to sweat it out either.
And even if we're not arranging food for you, I want to be in a situation where you're like, I'm just going to Uber Eats hot food here, because why would I eat it anywhere else?
Yeah.
Because it's the nicest place to be.
And there's space for like a food truck on a big event where we might be able to get someone to come and do food outside for tournaments and stuff like that. But the aim is I want it to feel like a good coffee shop or a pub where you want to be in there. You feel comfortable just sitting and doing some hobby or something like that, as well as playing a game.
Paul says, who wants to book a table with me where we play a game which lasts all day, but you can only get reinforcements if you buy models and build them there and then? I'm on board with that, I'll be honest.
I mean,
it's a business. I'm on board with that.
The other thing is that I can't 100% commit to it because it's not just me making that decision, but they will be good tables to play on. We're not talking just plain MDF, are we? We're talking actual. I want to build a couple of what I'm calling the premium tables out of 2x2 tiles, where you kind of have those Warhammer World style tables where you actually feel like you're playing from a White Dwarf Battle Report that people can then rent, and we can put those tiles out onto the slots in the table so that you've kind of got good tables to play on, right?
Soup says, so no waltzing in, buying a single coffee and nursing it for 6 hours while I work on my novel. You can do that.
Yeah.
If there's space in the social area to sit and do that, you can do that. If you're taking up a gaming table to try and do that, and someone wants to come and play a game and they can't, you'll be asked to move to the social area, right? That's it. That's all. It's not. It's not. I don't want people to feel like it's a cattle farm of revenue generation, because it's not that either. But we are a business who has to make money, so it's about finding that happy medium.
Yeah.
And if people are paying to book tables, well, then they get the table, and you don't get to sit there writing your novel or drinking your coffee.
Yeah, that's
ultimately.
But the idea is to give everybody that premium experience where this becomes the shop that if you're going to drive, like Luton said, 2 hours, it becomes a worthwhile trip. It goes, I went 2 hours to Hobby House, 2 hours back, but I had such a good time that's where I want to go and do my hobby. Right. I want to buy my stuff. And it becomes a situation where you're then going, do you know what? I had such a good time at Hobby House that next time I've got to do an online order, I want to support that business because I want the potential future down the line to be a Hobby House near me.
The success for me is when I'm looking at where we can place hobby houses in the UK, and I say hobby houses, I don't know what the collective noun for hobby houses is. Hobby House I. When we're looking at where we can place these, I've mapped on Google where I want to place them, right? And I've mapped. I'm fucking super head about this shit. I've got maps of hour radiuses, and then I place the hour radius and I go, right, so that one sits there because I want to do more than one. I want to offer this as the premium experience throughout the whole of the UK, right? So if the first one is a roaring success, it becomes very easy to speak to my investors and go, we're doing a second one, right?
And then there's a whole new YouTube channel of you and me in an RV.
If the hobby, if it just about washes its face, it becomes significantly more difficult to say, I want to do a second one. They'll be like, it's not worth it, mate. Why would we? Right? So, but we'll see. Okay. But I don't, whilst I'm building this business, I've told Toby I've got 2 others that I'm starting to work on. Anyway.
I'm just like, slow the fuck down, Liam.
So if we have, say, one in Southampton, and you look at an hour radius, you could place one Coventry, Birmingham area, our radius, they almost touch those circles.
Yeah.
So we get almost close to the Venn diagram, but just before it touches.
The narrative person's like, why didn't you open a hobby house in my small town in the arse end corner of nowhere?
But the idea being is that I want everyone to be close to within an hour of a hobby house.
You always want to be near home.
Right. See, the branding, people will start to go, fuck, it starts to make sense.
I know. Either that or they're like, that was so fucking cheesy. I'm going to be fucking sick.
Well, you've read the brand pack.
I have read the brand pack.
So the idea being that everyone's within an hour. For the first one, if someone like Luton, for example, was to travel 2 hours, spend a day here and go home, if he goes home and goes, I'd do that again, that's a fucking roaring success. Right?
And then you also start to get withdrawals from the white hot chocolate. You have to come back.
Are you going to do TCG events on specific days? Yeah, we'll have like Friday Night Magic and stuff, 100%.
More Around Mondays can continue on from Stream World to actual tables.
Anywhere's within an hour if you're brave enough. On my motorbike it is.
I've been in your car. Sometimes it's in the car as well.
Well, it's only a 200-mile-an-hour motorbike. And you don't have to worry about traffic with them. It's great.
No.
Right, we have some more thank yous.
Oh my goodness.
Chat popped a bit whilst we've been chatting. Limey Panda, thank you for 10 gifted memberships. Thank you, Dan.
Right, Dan, I hope next time you get a order from your LFG this time round, there's not been a mistake. You've got all the toys you've wanted, but they've accidentally sent the order twice. So you can either return it and get your money back, or you get double the toys.
When I was at Tables of Tactics, we had people walking around taking our orders and bringing it to us. Did have me order drinks that I might not have otherwise. I thought positive. So in general, as a general rule of thumb in retail, in any kind of environment, the higher number of barriers you can remove, the more likely people are to spend money. It's just a rule. There's a statistic out there about contactless payment acceptance rather than putting your card in, how much more people pay because contactless, and there's another statistic between actually accepting card and cash and how much more you make and blah, 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 blah. There's lots of data. This is not a business venture that I went, start a business. I put a lot of time into looking and learning and studying and what have you. You'll be able to order the table and have it brought to your table.
Yeah, 100%. Like the idea is that not only are you going to have your wireless charging and your PowerPoints on your table, you have a QR code. You scan that, you could buy your models and order them to table. You could buy a coffee and order it to table. And also that QR code can have access to like the tournament packs. Or for example, we were discussing the other day, say for example, we take Joe's gigantic bridge that's too fucking big to ever put on stream and we make a table out of that. We can have custom scenarios, like narrative potential scenarios, that if you're on the table with the bridge, you can scan that QR code and your mission that we've actually built specifically for that set of terrain can be on there as well. So it kind of removes so many elements, doesn't it?
Cash only. Unfortunately not. It's the opposite. People that spend on card spend more than they spend in cash, and people that spend wirelessly spend more than they spend on card. So it's all about the card, unfortunately. And also, by not being cash, we don't have to have a safe. We don't have to have a till system. And importantly, our insurance is a lot cheaper.
So if you've got cash,
put it in your bank.
Put it in your bank and then come and spend it.
Thank you, Farmer George, for the $5. Just popping in quickly to say, Justice for Get Good, diabolical that GW removed him from their Instagram post. Did they?
That is outrageous.
Hey, what? Hey, for me, that's the kind of person you want front and centre on your fucking Instagram post.
I mean, I'd be hiring him if I was GW.
That's mad.
Can you imagine the Christmas advert with Get Good and James Workshop?
Yeah. Oh.
Premium content.
You could do James Workshop talking to Mr. Berserker Man, and then Mr. Berserker Man is just like the Stig, just doesn't say anything, just stands there still. Anyway, Ben became a member all by himself. What a legend. Thank you so much. You're a hero. Edward gifted 1 membership. Thank you, Edward. Wee Man gifted 10 memberships. Wee Man! I've missed you. How you doing, man? Thank you for 10 gifted memberships.
I've seen Wee Man in stream chat many a time.
Yeah.
He's a firm favourite.
He took a break from 40k for a while, though.
Did he? That's fair.
I don't know if he's back, but I love you, Wee Man. I'm hoping you're doing well. He's gifted 10 memberships.
Right, well, Wee Man, as you've returned, I hope for you, and I'm doing the hopes today, I don't know if you realise that because Joe's not here, as everyone's fucking pointed out continuously. I hope that you get to come to Hobby House and we have a Wee Man statue built out in your honour that we can wheel out on like some wheels that you'd normally put on an office chair.
He says, yeah, rep at the event, so they didn't want me representing the brand, but in their defence, I was filming myself lining up white powder with the swag box bookmark. Fair enough. Okay.
Double down, Get Good. It's not you who's the problem.
If that's the case, then I'm sorry, but GW might have been right.
Yeah. But we still love you.
Amazing. Thank you, Gaz, for the $5. All I can hear is that you want patrons to come, shoot their load, take a moment afterwards, drink warm white liquid, and leave with a smile. Spot on.
It's not how I'd put it, but you're fairly on the nose there.
Yeah. Farmer George then gifted 5 memberships. Legend.
Oh, Farmer George. I hope that if you don't own a farm, when a relative that you're not particularly fond of dies, you inherit one.
Yeah, he does own a farm.
Well, I hope you own a second farm. Second farm?
And then Lehman says, thank you for the $5. Can we pay extra to have Joe in a maid outfit delivering our drinks? Look,
I will pay extra from my wages to let Joe not do that.
We also know how bad he is at fulfilling anything when you pay for him to dress up as anything ever. So it's probably never going to happen. And I keep saying they're different businesses.
Yeah, so Joe won't be on our floors that often. I'm sure he'll come down to be like, you know how football teams have like those mascots that dress up as like a giant aardvark or something?
Strictly Joe's trapped.
He can't escape.
He's going to have to come up here before Hobby House opens.
Yeah.
When Hobby House opens, we are allowing kids.
Yeah.
So he then can't come downstairs.
And women.
So he's going to have to wait till it shuts before he can leave.
How does that work with his can't be within 100 metres of anyone under the age of 18?
Wee Man says, I'm sorry, that hope was not food related. What has this channel become?
Is it normally food related for Wee Man?
It's Joe, innit? It's food, sex, or animals. Sometimes all three.
I was going to say... I need the book, Liam. I need the book. This has been too much. Wee Man, I hope you go to an ice cream van and he's like, my ice cream machine's broken, so I need to give you all of the ice cream I have and about 468 flakes. Is that better? Maybe that's more on brand.
Perfect. Right. Okay. Oh, look at this. Got some more emails through from people.
Oh, good.
I'm very excited to read those. Anyway, you people have been amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Hope you've enjoyed this.
I've had a great time. It's a shame I won't get asked back because I'm not fucking Joe.
Honestly, I think the rule for 40k, here's where I want to end if I can give you my final thoughts. Anyone can ruin Warhammer 40k. It doesn't matter if you're a narrative player or a competitive player or a middle-of-the-road player. Anyone can ruin it. It's not about
someone walking in with a pot of emulsion and throwing it on the table.
Yeah, it's not about being narrative. It's not about being competitive. It's about not being a dickhead. And I think that's the rule.
Well said, Liam.
So it isn't. Can narrative players ruin 40k? Yeah, of course they can, but not because they're narrative players. Because they're dickheads.
Fucking knobhead, yeah.
Yeah, right. And that's the rules. Okay. So I think that's something that, and I think the same is absolutely true of competitive players. Can competitive players ruin your game of Warhammer 40k? Yeah, but not because they're a competitive player.
And with any luck, they'll drop before they ruin it.
Because they're a bell end. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Don't be a bell end. Very easy.
Be a good human.
Right.
Limey Panda says that they're glad I'm not Joe now.
Yeah. There was a point earlier in the stream where he's like, oh, actually, I think I'm starting to like Toby. Starting to. 3 streams in. Took you a while to warm to them.
Well, I'll be back. I want to bring the Necrons. We'll have a narrative game of Necrons.
We have some Necrons now.
I know.
We have like 3,000 points of Necrons in the studio.
I need to see what we've got so I can build a narrative list.
Right. You people have been insane. Thank you so much. We have hit over 100 likes. We have hit
I'm not getting fucking hit with a spade.
We've hit over 100 pounds super chats. We've hit over 100 members. You're amazing human beings. I love you all. We have got a live game of Warhammer to 40k tonight. And after all of my chatting about narrative, it's Paddy versus Tom. It is, however, Tau versus Orcs. It was the Xenos off, so you can check out that at 7:30 this evening live on the channel.
And don't worry, there's going to be so much fucking terrain on that table that Paddy's Tau aren't going to see
Toby
shit.
is going to try and build us a narrative table which is not perfectly symmetrical. So you'll get to see that at 7:30 tonight. Tomorrow at 7:30 in the evening we have the Warhammer show. On Thursday, Joe returns for the Liam and Joe show, and we will talk about his escapades over in America land. In the evening, there's another live game of 40k. Currently, it's me versus Racist Adam. However, if Joe wants to play and he says he misses 40k, I'll let him. I'm just giving him the opportunity to have the night off because
that's respectable. Good boss.
I try, honestly.
I'm literally paid to say that.
And then, and then Friday is After Dark at 9 p.m. And then Saturday, there might even be a bonus show. I'm torn between building the Black Pearl on stream.
It's Jack Sparrow's pirate ship.
Fucking Black Pearl. It's back, the Black Pearl, or Vagin, or
do you know what?
Have a day off.
I was going to say, do you know what? You could. I know it's fucking difficult, Liam. Just have a bit of you time. I want to see Calgar get some more paint on him.
That's Sunday, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
You're all amazing humans. Hopefully we'll see you tonight at 7:30 for that live